Hello, we're out of my GPS test course in Browns Park, Utah, and I'm going to show you how to collect data in MobileMapper field. I've got a standard job set up. Let's start MobileMapper field. We'll make a copy of that template to make a new job. So I've got my base job, which was the last job that I had open. Let's go to Menu, and then Job, and New. I'm going to put it on the storage disk. I'm going to create a new folder, and I'm going to call the folder SEP 28, September 28th. Click on OK, and the name of the job will be S28. Okay, I'm going to use a map file. Click on Save. It says, do I want to use the current job as a template? Absolutely. That's the point. Click on Yes. So we're ready to go. Now I'm going to center myself. I've got 4 PVC pipes set into the ground. I'm going to store these first as points, and then I'm going to restore them, walk around and get them again as polylines and polygons. I also have 3 precise control points. We'll put an external antenna on the receiver, and we'll collect carrier phase data for post-processing all of this data. Now you'll notice up in the right-hand top corner of my screen there is not a REC, and that's because I'm not storing carrier phase data yet. Let's turn that on. We can do that by selecting Menu, and then Options. Go to the Record tab at the bottom. Check both Record Raw Data and Record GPX, and click on OK. So the receiver is now recording data, and you can tell that because there's an REC in the upper right-hand corner of the screen. I like to wait a minute or two after I start recording carrier phase data before I start collecting data. The HRMS on this receiver right now is 1/4 of a meter, so I think we're good to go. So I'm going to click on the Log button in the lower left-hand corner. Now this is going to be a property corner, a PC. I'm going to go to the Settings tab. I think I'm going to average for 30 seconds on this, and my offset is set to 0. So I'm good to go. Back here I've got property corner. I'll click on OK on the bottom left. Now the receiver is storing this position, and I've got 30 seconds to store. While it's storing, I can actually click on Attributes and pre-fill in the information I'm going to use for this corner. So this is the southwest corner. I'm going to call it SW for the description. The type is it's going to be a true corner. I'll take a picture in a second. If you come to a feature and you can't encode with text an adequate description, you can certainly do that with a sound or a recording. Let's record one. I'm going to push the red button here, and I can talk and say testing 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm at the southwest corner recording carrier phase data. Push the square box which will stop it, and we can listen to that. And I can talk and say testing 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm at the southwest corner recording carrier phase data. Okay, that sounds pretty good. I'll click on OK. It's automatically filled in the date and time. It hasn't filled in the satellites and the PDOT yet because we haven't finished collecting the points. Now as soon as I come back, it's finished collecting the 30 seconds, and the status and the HRMS and the PDOT have been filled in. I'd like to take a picture. So to do that, I'm going to click on the picture here, click on Camera, and when the camera comes up, I'll push the silver button in the center of the rocker, which will store the picture of this pipe. Okay, I've got a picture taken. You can see that what it does is it stores the name of the picture and the location where it's stored into the attribute in the file. I'm good to go here on the southwest corner. I'll click on OK, and that point is stored. Now I'm going to quickly traverse back to the northwest corner here. I'm going to line up on top of this pipe. I'm going to click Log. Property corner is already set. Everything's right. The settings remains 30 seconds. So I'll center myself and click on OK. Go in and set the attributes. This is going to be the northwest corner, NW. And the type is a corner. I'm not going to take a picture or store a sound on this. Click on OK, and we'll come back and wait for our 30-second average. Now you'll notice that as this is averaging, because I don't have a pole with a bipod, I'm moving all over the place. I guess that's going to be good enough for what we're doing here. Click on OK, everything's good there. Let's go over to the far side. Again, I'm going to hold the receiver to the south of my body so that I track as many satellites as I'm moving as possible. Come over here, we're at the northeast corner. I'm lined up pretty well. I'll click the log button. Property corner is fine. Click on OK. I'll set the attribute to be NE. Type is going to be a true corner. 19 seconds to go. Okay, let's go pick up southeast corner here. Log, OK. I'll enter in the southeast corner. Check. Okay, I've got my 4 corners stored. Now I'd like to store a polyline that connects 4 of these corners. I'll leave this south line unfilled on the polyline. Start out here at the southwest corner. And I'm going to log, and this is going to be the outside boundary. You'll see down here it says that it's a line. On the settings, I'm going to do this line twice. The first time, I'm going to store by distance. So every time I move a meter, the GPS receiver is automatically going to store a vertice. So we'll click on automatic up here. I've chosen distance 1 meter. One note is when you're storing lines, if you store an offset, the offset is stored as a right or left from the traveled path. Our horizontal offset is going to be 0, so we're not going to have one. So again, we'll click on OK. We've stored a point. Now I'm going to head to the corner here, and you'll see that it's filling in with a red line. Now here's the problem. As I walk to this northeast corner, I need to hold the receiver right over the line between the 2 pipes. But I can't do that because there is no line for me to follow. So, let's see, we're here. I'll come down to here. And now to stop this line, I choose Menu and Stop. When I stop logging that line, I have an opportunity to set the attributes, and I'm going to say free HAND. Okay, so that's a freehand of it. I'll click on OK here. That attribute's stored. Now, if I'm storing a fence line or a property boundary, typically I'm not going to walk the fence line and automatically store those points. That's an operation that might be reserved more for doing a wetland delineation. If I'm doing a property boundary, what I'd like to do is start out at this point, and I'll click on Log. I'm going to log the same feature, but I'm going to manually store the vertices. I'm going to store 10 seconds of averaging time at each vertice. Click on OK. I'm lined up here pretty well. Click on OK. I could fill in the attributes for this line if I'd like to now, but on lines I usually wait till the end. My 10 seconds at this point are complete. trying to be careful not to break carrier phase because I'm storing data to post-process this. I'll click on log again. Actually, you don't click on log. If I click on log, I'll store a second line. I can store 2 lines at the same time. That's not what I want to do though. I want to resume my current logs line, so that's menu and then resume. I'll get 10 seconds of data stored on this point. Good. Let's come down to the northeast corner here. Okay, I'm lined up pretty well. I'll click on menu and then resume. And finally, come to the 4th corner. Line up. Click on menu, resume. And finally, I want to stop this line that I'm manually storing vertices on. I'll do that with menu and then stop. And the receiver asked me, this is going to be man vert. Okay, so I've stored this 3-sided line, or 3-segmented line, twice at this point. Now I'd also like to store a polygon for these 4 points. To do that, I can just click on the log button and then pick PG, which is a polygon type. On settings, I'm going to use the manual method. I could also store automatically if I was doing a wetland delineation. So I'm going to pick manual, but for the polygon, I think I'll change the averaging time to 5 seconds. Super. Okay. Traverse back here to the west. Over the point, I'll pick menu, resume. Great. So I've got a blue line building on my screen. Pick this 3rd corner, menu, resume, and walk down here to the northeast corner. Line up pretty well and pick menu, resume, and then menu stop. I'll call this outside, O-U-T-S-I-D-E. Okay, okay, and I'll zoom out here. And you'll notice that I've got a nice blue shaded polygon as part of my job now. Now for the next part of this video, I'd like to store my 3 control points. And I'm going to do that using an external antenna. We're going to post-process this job, and by using an external antenna, I can control my height above these 3 control points. And I'm going to shoot these control points over and over again. I also have exact coordinates for these that have been derived from Opus solutions. The other advantage of using an external antenna is I can use a bipod, and I can exactly center the antenna that's making the measurement on top of the point. So this is a 2-meter pole, and we're going to log, and this is going to be a control point. I'm going to log 15 seconds on each point. My offsets are going to be set to 0. so we'll click on OK here. For my attributes, in the description I'm on the west, so I'll just hit a W here. And our 15 seconds are up. Now, I'm going to repeatedly store these 3 points, and there's no reason for you to waste your time watching this happen, but we'll just edit that out. Here we are on the second point. I'll level up. And click on log. Everything else is the same. I can just press OK. The attribute here for the description is going to be C. For center. Great. Click on log. Everything else is set. The attribute here is going to be E for east. Great. Back to the west point for the second occupation. Log OK. We'll set the description here to W2. So, when we're done collecting data, we need to turn off the raw data recording. So we can do that under Menu, and then Options, Recording, and I'm going to uncheck both those boxes. Recording's turned off. And then I like to exit MobileMapper field. Now, you need to be very careful when you're done recording a job. If you just turn off the receiver at this point, your data may or may not be saved, because the shapefiles that MobileMapper field are writing haven't been closed yet. So you always want to close MobileMapper field. We need to talk about closing MobileMapper field. If you push the X in the upper right corner, MobileMapper field is still running in the background. You'll see an icon in the lower tray down here at the bottom. If I click on that icon, MobileMapper field restores itself to full screen. To close the files and end your MobileMapper field job, you have to select Menu and then Exit. This is probably the biggest reason for customers losing data in the field. They don't exit MobileMapper field, they just shut off the receiver. Now when you're done collecting data, you can push and hold the on-off button, and you'll want to do that for about 5 seconds until the receiver says shutting down, and then the receiver will be shut down all the way. To put the receiver in standby, you just click on the button and hold it for a second, and it'll go into standby, and then you can click and hold it for 5 seconds and it'll come back on immediately. Well, we've collected our data now. Let's go back in the office and look at the data that we've collected and then post-process it.